So let me ask you this. When you're manifesting these ideas, these dreams, the things that you want, um, is that all in your head? Do you keep it in a physical space too, like a journal or a dream board?
Um, for for me, it's I'll write it down somewhere. But it's like I'll lay like little, like I'll call them Easter eggs for myself too. Like my phone background for a while was a Lotus Emira, because like when I'm manifesting things, like that's the car I want to be driving in like a couple years. And so I made it my background so that every time I would open my phone, I would see that. And then like I would make the background on my computer like a mansion in San Diego or something, like a house right on the beach in San Diego at sunset. So like I would lay little things around based around the things that I want, so that every time I would open up my computer or phone to like do work or do whatever I'm about to do, I would see what I'm doing that for. And then I have a whiteboard that I'll just like write down some of my goals and stuff like that on. Um, but a lot of it is in my head too. Like I'll take moments to like meditate and literally just close my eyes and like envision myself sitting in a Lotus Emira, like the feel of the seats, and like I'll literally like as vividly as possible imagine that, because I know it, like once I actually feel that, it's going to be so good because it's going to be real. Like I will have thought that into existence.
I definitely work with meditating and that manifesting kind of mode, but one of the things I was taught was to really focus on the feeling of gratitude and the way that you feel like when you're sitting in the car. Um, but man, I really want the Nissan Z, the new one, the 2022 Nissan Z. They're so cool.
Yeah.
I love the nostalgia. Everything about that car is just, I love it. But I actually like saw it in a dream. It was blue. It's really beautiful. And so I printed it out and I put it on my dream board. The blue Nissan Z. So
Yeah, those things are so cool. My friend works
yeah.
at a Nissan dealership and we've been talking about those a lot. Um, it's actually funny you say that though, because I was driving the other day and I was like just zoning out, kind of just cruising. I was on my way to my next store, which was like 40 minutes away. So I was just like driving, listening to music and like thinking. And less than 30 seconds later, a red Ferrari, exactly like the one I imagined, drove by me on my left. And I was like, that is literally like the universe, like throwing me a little like Easter egg, like, here, check this out. Like, you're on the right track. Like, because
Yeah.
I seeing a Ferrari is not a common thing, and there just happened to be one exactly like how I imagined it driving by me, like within 30 seconds of me like thinking about it.
Yeah, the psychic intuition is really fun when you're getting ahead of it. But the cool part too is like not only are you good at manifesting the things that you want, but you've been good at it. Like you and I both. Whereas you really wanted a Toyota. You really wanted
Yeah,
that car. Like
yeah.
you and I really wanted my charger when I wanted it. I wanted a
Mm-hmm.
charger for a while, and I was looking for chargers, and I got it. The same thing with your Corolla. That's what it is. I wanted to
Yeah, it
say
is.
Camry. It was like it's not a Camry, it's a Corolla. But yeah, I remember when you told me about how you rented it and you loved it so much, you went to the Toyota dealership and bought one.
Yeah, yeah, and that's what it really is at the end of the day, is bridging that gap between what you have and what you want, and being able to bridge it with your mind. And then like I do that all the time, where it's like, okay, this is what I have right now. I'm grateful for what I have right now. I'm grateful that I own a house. I'm grateful for my Corolla. Like, I'm grateful for all that. But I want this $30 million mansion on the beach in San Diego, and I want a Ferrari, a Lambo, and a Lotus Emira. So there's like a pretty big distance between those two things. So like mentally, I have to be like, what does it look like between now and then to make that happen? And that's what allows me to lay out my like 5 year plans, because I have 5 year, 10 year, 15 and 20 year plans like pretty much laid out. And it's like all I do is imagine myself at that point, and then I work my way back. I'm like, okay, so by this point, I've made $100 million on stocks. What have I done to build my way up to that point? And I'll work my way all the way back to where I'm at right now and make it make sense, because I don't really like think forward with it. I don't do like, I have to do this and then this and then this, because like it's hard to build up when you don't know exactly where you're trying to build up to. But if you know exactly the point you're trying to build up to and you can work your way back, like it just makes it easier to kind of put things in perspective. So I'm always just trying to bridge that gap. I've put a lot of pressure on myself, and I don't think people really like understand this, because no one's as open about their goals as I am. Like they won't tell their friends, yeah, I want to make 50 million or $100 million in 3 years, because they know their friends are going to be like, that's ridiculous, like that's not going to happen. And then if it doesn't happen, they end up looking ridiculous, or they feel ridiculous for even setting that as a goal. And so with me running around constantly telling people that's what I'm going to do, and that I'm going to be retired for before 30, and that I'm going to own this business, I'm going to be big on YouTube, I'm going to do this, that, the other thing, like with me telling everyone around me that, it puts a lot of pressure on me, because like I can feel the eyes watching me and seeing if I'm actually going to be able to do that. And I do that on purpose. I do that because I work better when I have some kind of pressure on me. And that's a big reason why I'm so open with my goals. And I recommend anyone is open with their goals, because it helps keep you accountable. Because if I'm sitting in my room alone and I'm like, hey, I'm going to make $70 million and I'm going to be a big YouTuber, and then I don't do that, there's no one to hold me accountable. I'll just be like, okay, well, I'll do it later. But if I tell people around me that actually care about me and support me and like want me to do those things, they're gonna be like, well, like, what are you doing? Like, you're not working towards that right now. So I think it's like really important for people to be open with their goals and the things that they want to do, and have people around them that will hold them accountable for it. A big thing for me that I have always lived up to the things I said I was going to do. I was like, I'm going to buy a house. I bought a house at 20. And everyone's like, how'd you even do that? And I'm like, honestly, it didn't even like feel that difficult, but like getting there felt so good, because I had said I was going to do it and I followed through. And there was a lot of people that didn't know if I would do it or didn't think I could do it. And I did.
No, you just had such an objective approach about it. You're just like, this is what I need to do. And then you put your head down and did it.
I looked at how much money we needed, the timeline that we had, and I was like, okay, cool, like let's do this. And we made it happen. And I think people, they like to look for excuses, and they like to look at the emotional side of things as well. But like the way I've been able to accomplish the goals that I've set is it's pretty black and white. Like people overcomplicate it. It's like you look at what you want, when you want it, and how you're going to get there. And then you do it. And when you're looking at the how, you have to be realistic. You have to realistically know how much time you're going to have, how much money you're going to have, like how devoted you're going to be to that. But it's like, as long as you're realistic with yourself in the how, and you set an actual goal, there's no reason you can't get there, because you literally figured out how you're going to do it. All you have to do now is do it.
Yeah, commit.
Yeah, exactly. Commit yourself and set goals that you actually care about. Because a lot of people set goals that they don't care about, and if they don't hit it, they don't lose anything. But like for me, if I don't hit my goals, then I lose like everything that I'd worked for up to that point. All the hopes that I had with that goal, because I really, really care about every goal that I set.
When you want something and you've set that goal and you write it down, like there's a clear desire, like how do you keep that going?
I think a lot of that does go back to what I said before, as far as making sure the goal is important. But the other side of it is, and I tell everyone this, every sales rep at work, every person that I've met that's chasing something, control the controllables. There's going to be things you can't control that come up. But if I ask you what has gone wrong, and you say like, oh yeah, well, I bought this last month, and then I had some friends going out, and I really wanted to go and hit the town with them, so I spent a few hundred that night. Those are all controllable things that you chose to do. If your car breaks down, you got to get it fixed. That's not a controllable. So as long as I can ask myself what went wrong with this goal and none of them are controllables, then I'll be like, okay, there was actually nothing I could do. Now I just got to keep pushing forward. But there's almost always controllables in those situations. And I'm like, okay, so I can be doing better. That's why I'm not hitting it. I'm going to fix this and this because those are the controllables. And eventually those uncontrollable problems will be dealt with. But you can't beat yourself up for things that happen that are out of your control, and you can't let yourself get away with doing things that are in your control and leveraging it or using it as an excuse of why you did it, of like, oh, I was in a bad mood that day, I really needed to go do this. It's like, okay, but you didn't need to do that. Like there's other things you could have done. And so it's just like a lot of people will set up things that they choose to do, and they're embarrassed about the fact that they spent the money or didn't spend the time reading or whatever they did. And so they'll set it up in a way where it's like they had to do it. And it's like that because they want to be able to use it as an excuse. People are naturally going to find excuses when they don't accomplish things. So it's just like about cutting through the actual BS of it and getting to black and white of like, what could you have controlled and what could you not have? And just looking at it from that point of view.